Welcome to the Day Breaking News. Here's the highlight of the day. June retail sales climbed more than expected as American front searing-hot inflation. Economists expected retail sales to climb by 0.8% in June despite rising prices. Americans ramped up their spending at retail stores in June, a sign that consumers are still opening their wallets even as inflation persists at a 40-year high. Retail sales, a measure of how much consumers spend on a number of everyday goods, including cars, food, and gasoline, rose 1% in June from the prior month. The Commerce Department said Friday economists surveyed by Refinitiv expected sales to rise 0.8%. It marked a major uptick from the decline of 0.1% in June. The June advance is not adjusted for inflation, meaning that consumers may be spending the same but getting less bang of their buck. When taking inflation into consideration, retail sales would likely show a modest but steady decline in recent months. A boost in spending at gas stations helps to propel retail sales higher. Gasoline sales climbed 3.6% in June as prices at the pump notched a record high in mid-June, with the average gallon of gas regularly topping $5. Prices have since sales at bar and restaurant meanwhile jumped 1%, while online sales rose 2.2%. Furniture and home store sales climbed 1.4%. Consumers pulled back on spending in areas like apparel, with sales at clothing stores dropping 0.4%. Consumers are continuing to absorb higher prices in non-discretionary categories like gas and deferring purchases in categories like appliances, said Claire Stassin, a retail and e-commerce analyst at the Morning Consult. Declines in apparel and department store spending indicates that consumers are tightening. The data comes as consumers face the worst inflation spike since 1981. The government reported earlier this week that the consumer price index climbed 9.1% in June, much higher than economists expected. The reading underscores how sticky and persistent inflationary pressure in the economy still are. The price spike dampened Americans' confidence in the economy, with consumer sentiment sinking in early June to the lowest level in record. The Federal Reserve have responded to the inflation crisis with the most aggressive action, indicated as the races to catch up with the runaway consumer prices. Policymakers approved a 75 basis point interest rate hike, the first since 1994 in June on the heels of faster than expected inflation data. Experts are now ramping up to the odd and an even bigger 100 basis point rate hike at the end of the month, following by ugly June inflation report and stronger than expected retail sales. The market seems to be welcoming the news, although retail strength could only add fuel to the Fed fire to continue its rate hike campaign to cool the economy and tame inflation, said Mike Lowegaard, Managing Director of Investment Strategy at E Street. Thank you for subscribing our channel. I see you in the next newsletter.